Okay, we are live. Hello, ladies and gents. I'm Richard Grannon. This is the Spartan Life Coach channel, and here is my friend, the notorious nutritionalist, whose name is Daniel.
The notorious nutritionist, Danny Wilson. How's everybody doing?
That's not a bad tagline for you, the notorious.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it.
So, folks, we're going to get straight in by just giving you a couple of tips, and this is the tips that I'm going to give you are based on the intake that me and Danny ran a couple of months ago that ran for 6 weeks. And I was learning as we went. People would ask me questions. They'd say, look, this is the time of day that I'm overeating. This is why I'm overeating. This is what I'm thinking when I feel compelled to eat food, or these are my beliefs around food. And as I went along with that, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, that just sounds like this, or that just sounds like that. Just using bits of neuro-linguistic programming, elements of hypnosis, elements of CBT, and understanding of CPTSD and trauma, which unsurprisingly seems to underscore a lot of why people eat. The first tip that I would give you, and this was a big one that came up that seemed very, very simple to me, but wasn't simple to the members of the group that we had, is becoming aware somatically of your own feelings. And that includes, I'm not talking emotion now, I'm talking about feelings in your body. And what transpired as we were chatting in the group is that people didn't know what hunger is. And because they didn't know what genuine hunger was, they couldn't distinguish the authentic desire to refuel the body because the body was depleted of calories versus pizza's delicious, why don't I shove some of it in my face, it tastes good. Delicious pizza.
Delicious.
To me that in the personal training world and the nutrition world, this would be called the difference between appetite and hunger. That's how you distinguish it, isn't it, Dan?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So basically, just kind of to go into it very, very briefly, hunger is the body's physiological response to needing fuel. It needs it. Appetite is, like Rich just said, that pizza tastes nice, I think I'll have more. Yeah. That pizza smells nice, I think I'll have more. That pizza looks nice. It's more of a want, more of an enjoyment thing, whereas hunger is the body actually needing food.
So the first tip I'm going to share with you guys, the first little technique that we developed there was to say to people, okay, well, let's get back to baseline and make sure that you're very, very familiar with your body's genuine expression of hunger, so that you can get a contrast and go, oh, what I'm feeling right now is not hunger, because I know what hunger is. And that was just to suggest to people to do a 16-hour fast. It's no big deal. You put your fork down 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, whenever you finish your evening meal, and then you don't eat again until 11 or 12 o'clock the next day after 16 hours has passed. This means that your body gets a chance to properly process the food. And after about 12 hours, you won't really have that much in you. And so you'll have about 4 hours that will lead to authentic feelings of hunger. This is good for 2 reasons. It lets you feel hunger and distinguish that from appetite. And it shows you that actually you won't be that hungry. Even after 16 hours with no food in you. I think everybody, Dan, didn't they all say, I wasn't that hungry after? Yeah.
No.
So,
yeah. The majority of people, when we kind of mention fasting, they just go, oh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I need my food. I need my food. Which is where generally people are going wrong. They think they need the food. They think because of the way the media portrays weight loss and dieting, they think if they don't eat for a certain amount of time, that their metabolism is going to stall and they're going to start putting weight on. And it isn't the case at all.
Yeah. So we got people to do that and to run that experiment with themselves. It's a good confidence builder because people are going, oh, can I do this more than once? And we're like, you do as much as you want. You know, take it to the point where you actually start going, okay, I don't function. Because you will hit that. You'll hit that wall if you're not a regular faster and you're not used to it. Your body's used to drawing its energy from external sources rather than from its own fat sources. Eventually, you're going to be shaky and you know it'll be difficult. So, but it allows you to get to baseline of what hunger really is. And actually shows we're all eating too much food. We don't need as much food as we're eating, and that is why we're struggling. We're all overweight. Now, the technique part of this, I said to them, is, look, it's really, really simple. Just rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 on either hand. So on your left hand, say we'll have genuine hunger, and we'll go, okay, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10. This is an authentic feeling of hunger. This is, I'm not really that hungry. This is, if I don't eat soon, I'm going to fall down and embarrass myself. And then on the other hand, you place appetite. So if you smelt delicious food, if whatever the thing is that for you is a bit of a vulnerability, a bit of a weakness, or you saw the sign for it and you started appetiting for it, you would rate it 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8. Now, what this actually creates inside of you is a greater awareness somatically of what's going on that permits you to distinguish between genuine hunger, authentic feelings of hunger, and appetite, and it's an internal boundary. You're not going to do this for the rest of your life. You just learn this, you do it for the 6 weeks. It's kind of like a goofy mnemonic that reminds you to do it. And then the unconscious will take over and go, oh, you just sent me an impulse saying you wanted to eat that food, but you're not hungry right now. Actually, that is just comfort seeking or pleasure seeking, or you just want it for the sake of wanting it. Let's wait a couple of hours until we're authentically hungry and then go and eat something healthy. So that's the first tip that I wanted to give you. Dan, when you're giving people tips on losing weight, what is the fastest way that people would start to lose weight straight away?
The biggest kind of tip, or the biggest light bulb moment people generally have when I start talking about weight loss is the difference between good foods and bad foods. Now, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to purely weight loss, there are no good foods and then there are no bad foods. There is just the calories contained in those foods, the energy that we draw from those foods to fuel our bodies. Right. Every time you eat, depending on obviously the food it breaks down, it's going to go through your digestive system. And if you eat a cookie, or if you eat some whole grain, organic, top quality brown rice, it all enters your bloodstream exactly the same way as a single molecule of sugar. It makes literally no difference at all when it comes to weight loss if you eat cookies or if you eat sweet potato. That is the biggest, when people kind of get their head around that and they stop depriving themselves, or they stop punishing themselves and stopping themselves eating foods that they've eaten. You know, these are habits that you've probably built up for, 10, 20, 30 years. When you realize that you can include a little bit of what you like and you don't actually have to suffer to lose weight, everything, it's like the Matrix moment. It's like taking the blue pill or the red pill. The world becomes a much better place. And that, when people get their head around that, the magic happens. That's when the magic happens, right there.
So that was leads in nicely to another tip that I wanted to give people, was to look at, and we did a lot of this in the last group. And by the way, the feedback we had from the last group was really, really strong. Yeah.
Phenomenal, yeah.
People loved it. They got good results from it. I just sent a newsletter out before, Dan, and I said that people had lost, I think the biggest weight loss was like 15% of overall weight. So somebody who was 100 kilos and they lost 15 kg. That was right, wasn't it?
The biggest and quickest loss was 17 pounds in the first 3 weeks.
Right. So me and Dan are exactly on the same page. Dan's my teacher in the nutrition world. So I only know really what I know about nutrition for myself and in terms of training based on what Dan has taught me. So we're on the same page in that neither of us are jumping up and down over the fact that people are losing weight dramatically in the early stages. And, 17 pounds in 3 weeks is great. 15 kilos over 6 weeks is great. The big thing was to watch people come into the group with a lot of hysteria around food. And you could watch the comments in the group as people slowly calmed down and slowly got into this regular pattern, this way of eating. And then you could just tell their whole approach to food was changing. The next tip I wanted to give you was to examine your beliefs around food. Dan just mentioned a couple of things there that fire straight into people's beliefs. We use the term weight loss. I still use it, but really for most people, what they want is fat loss. So when Dan was talking pure weight loss, that means the mass of your body, the amount of you that is made up of you. When it comes to just losing that mass, your body has no idea between a cookie and whole grain rice, as Dan just said. Now that is a bit of a leap in people's beliefs that needs to be made. And that's one of the things that we help you do during the course, is to look at these beliefs and move them along. Another belief is, I need to be eating every 3 to 4 hours to stoke my metabolism. I need to eat a big breakfast at the beginning of the day because that's what gets your metabolism going in the morning. You know, these are the same beliefs that I've had running for years, and they're the beliefs, they're the beliefs of people who stay overweight. I stayed overweight for years, even though I was training. My light bulb moment with Dan is chatting to him in the gym and going, well, I'm sticking to my 2,500 calories a day. I'm not losing weight. And him just looking at me and going, 2,500 calories? That's a lot of food, you know, dude. And I was like, oh, because all the bro science and all the, you know, testosterone fueled bodybuilding, powerlifting stuff I'm reading online is telling me I just got it into my head that was the magic number that I should be eating. And you've heard that before, haven't you, Dan?
Oh God, 100%. It's for whatever reason, the government guidelines, certainly in the UK, the government guidelines for a female, doesn't matter what weight they are, doesn't matter what they do for a job, is 2,000 calories a day. For a male, it's 2,500 calories. Now, this figure does not take into account anything at all. If you are a 45 kg female office worker who literally doesn't move from her desk for 8 or 9 hours a day, goes home, feeds the cats, watches TV and goes to bed, if you eat 2,000 calories a day, you are going to be in a positive energy balance. You're going to have an energy surplus. The only thing that energy can do is be stored for later use, and we store that as body fat.
So one of the other techniques, I can tell you what we do on the course, but on this one, I can't really tell you how to do it. You'd have to join the course. But the course is fairly straightforward. Danny will give you like an outline for diet, for calorie consumption. We track our calories together. We share the meals that we've had during the day together. We have a bit of a laugh and a joke, everybody in the group. We chat about what we're doing. If we mess up, you know, somebody will say, oh, this is what I ate yesterday, and then everybody else helps out. That's all fairly straightforward. And the stuff that I'm doing is fairly straightforward. Like if somebody says, oh, I do this emotionally or psychologically around food, I'll go, okay, well, let's break the pattern of that. During the course, you're also given by me audio hypnosis to do every day. I expect people to be able to do like a 15-minute power walk in the morning, and that's just to set you up for the day. So week 1, you get like a 15-minute audio that you listen to 7 days. Week 2, a different one. Week 3, a separate one. And this paces you along in the process of being open to change, being determined and consistent, keeping yourself calm, being aware of what your body is telling you, getting a greater sense of what's going on for yourself somatically, managing your own emotional state, and working on beliefs like, I can feel okay without being stuffed full of food. Now, for some people watching this, I know that will make them panic a little bit because they're very, very emotionally attached to food. But there are other processes, there are other coping mechanisms that we can put in place there that will just say, hey, you know what? You've used food all this time to feel this way and to feel safe and to feel protected and to reduce your anxiety. Here's another way of doing it. It's all unconscious. I'm only working with people's unconscious drives. There's nothing consciously that you need to do. You put your headphones in, you play the tracks on your smartphone, you go for a power walk, then every week you'll get like another 2 or 3 tracks. They're only 5 minutes long to listen to, that just add in little bits and pieces, little building blocks that deal with certain issues that people have around food. And that's it. We run you through for 6 weeks. Any questions that pop up that are to do with food or to do with training, they go to Dan. Any questions that pop up that are to do with psychology or the emotions or what's going on for you, maybe in your past around foods. There's a lot of people who are shamed over their eating, or they were forced to eat food, or whatever it is. Then I deal with that, and that's how we handle it. It's fairly, there's nothing particularly magical about what we're doing, is there, Dan?
No, nothing at all. Just before we go on, I've just had a couple of messages on my phone. Mm-hmm. Can I just check? Can everybody hear what we're saying? I've had a couple of messages saying the sound quality is not very good. So if you could just kind of comment and go yes or no.
I'm looking at the comments now. Can you give us a yes if you can hear us, please, guys? Yes. Okay.
Can you hear me as well?
Yeah. Can hear fine.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. I was just double checking. Like I said, I've got a message on my phone saying that they couldn't hear me very well. So
I've done whole live videos that go on for like 25, 30 minutes before I realised that nobody can fucking hear a word.
No one can hear what you're saying. That's what I thought. I just thought, oh God, we're just talking to ourselves. So what? Sorry, what did you say just now, Rich?
Just that it's very, very straightforward. Like, we can tell people exactly what we're doing. That there's no secret in terms of what we're doing.
No, there's no secret herbal crazy plant that we're gonna go, here you go, take that. Everything we tell you is incredibly actionable, incredibly simple. In fact, so simple, a lot of you won't do it. So simple, a lot of you will go, well, that can't work.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That can't work. I can't have cheese with my tea because it will cause me to gain weight.
Yeah.
Trust us.
Yeah.
Trust us. Weight loss, in the grand scheme of things, is fairly simple. You just need to put your faith in me and Rich that we kind of know what we're talking about.
That's a really good point. And there was, I remember towards the end, I'm sure you saw that some of the comments from people, like a lady said, well, these audios aren't working for me. And I was like, how many times a day are you listening to them? She was like, I'm not. And I was like, well, you have to, like, the magic bell that I created is like, and now you'll be fine. You got to listen to that shit. Yeah. But maybe the simplicity of it, the idea that, oh, I could listen to something, be in a relaxed state, and that my unconscious is going to take that on is, I'm 100% sure that that's too simple for some people. They're like, there's no way that could work for me. But what I always say on that score is, look, think about yourself during a normal day. When do you ever sit down for 60 seconds? You don't move your body at all. You just focus on breathing and relaxing and think about getting one thing done in a certain way, non-stop for 60 seconds. You never do. Well, we're doing this for 5 minutes. We're doing it for 15 minutes. It's kind of like a, taking your brain, taking your mind on a journey that is like future forming behaviors that you can do and feeling good about it. This, because we really want you to enjoy the process. Like, we know that you're not really going to stick to it. If it's a ball ache, if it's hard, if it's a hassle, you won't do it. But if it's fun and it's easy, you just get it done. It's really, really simple.
Exactly. I came up with the nutritional side of this program probably just over a year ago now. And the reason I came up with it is because I got so fed up of all the nutritional bullshit, all the nutritional mumbo jumbo spouted in magazines, that it just drove me insane. So I put together this program. I tested it on my wife. I tested it on a few of my wife's friends. They all got fantastic results. They all couldn't believe you can eat bread. They all couldn't believe if you want a bit of chocolate every day, you can have a little bit of chocolate every day. They couldn't believe the amount of food which was now available to them, which the media, as clickbait, will say, you can't eat this and you can't eat that. It's incredibly simple. That's why I came up with this, because I got so fed up with all the shit on social media and in the normal media too. So it's incredibly simple if you can just trust us.
Yeah, you gotta be able to trust us a little bit and be willing to give it a go. Just be willing to try. There are things we're going to ask you to do. Like, I'm going to ask you to do the power walk every day, and then find time for another 5-minute audio every day. We're going to ask you to get yourself involved in the group, because that helps. That's a part of the emotional and psychological commitment, is actually chatting to people and saying, this is what I'm doing. It's a Facebook group. You have a smartphone. We're in your pocket. There's no excuse. You just flip it out and be like, oh, I need a sponsor. I'm about to eat a cookie. You can put it straight there, and somebody in the group somewhere in the world will be online for you to chat to. So there's that. As far as like what you expect them to do with calorie counting and stuff, Dan, do you want to talk about that so people have a good expectation of what that involves?
So basically, the meal plan, the meal templates that we are going to give you are fucking brilliant, to be honest. They are completely, of all the meal plan building tools, obviously I'm biased, these are the best I've ever seen. There are 3 ways which you can follow the nutritional side. We will work out the calories for you. We will then split those calories into meals and snacks. You will know every meal and every snack, the caloric content. With those calories, we will then give you a list of proteins, a list of carbohydrates, a list of fats. Depending on how many meals each day you're having, you will pick a protein source, a carb source, a fat source. And then you will do that for the amount of meals that you have every day. If you're not comfortable following the meal plan, you can just go by the calories. Because at the end of the day, like I've said, when you're trying to lose weight, calories are king.
So Dan's got this, he'll send you out when you sign up an individualized booklet, an e-booklet that tells you exactly what your needs are based on, he needs to ask you some questions, you fill out a questionnaire, and then the actual meal plan that you're given is super, super adaptable. So if you're away on holiday for a week, or you're just you're traveling with work or something, you don't need to go, oh, I'm off it now, I'll just do whatever I want. No, you can totally follow along, and it's really, really simple, really, really easy.
It tells you in the booklet that you're going to get, it's going to tell you how to adjust your day for social occasions, eating out with friends, how to cope with if you are stuck out without any food, and the only food you can get is from a service station. We have literally covered all eventualities in this book.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap this up? Now would be a good time to write them in the YouTube chat. I will write any questions.
Let's have a little look through.
People are writing in languages I do not understand. I cannot help you because I don't know what you're saying.
Demi Abbott says, hi, Richard and Danny. Hello, Demi. How are you?
Hi, Demi. Somebody talking about childhood abuse being a cause for eating disorders. Yeah, that's definitely been my experience as well. You can see when we're talking to people in the group, and we actually got down to brass tacks about their beliefs and their behavior patterns around food. It might not have been overt, like torture sort of abuse, but shaming and guilting and pushing people to do things that they didn't want when they were too young to deal with it. Crystal says, is this okay to do along with the inner critic course? Yeah, be fine. Do you follow 16-8 always? I do sometimes. How often do you do your intermittent fasting, Dan?
Whenever possible, really. Can you hear me? I've just clicked off. Hang on.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. So when it comes to intermittent fasting, there are various ways in which you can do it. Yeah. And if one morning you wake up and you are absolutely starving, just have a meal and fast the next day.
Yeah.
The 16-8 protocol is designed to, this is the way I do it. When I'm fasting, my last meal or my last intake of any kind of caloric value will be about 10 o'clock at night. So I will then wait 16 hours, 1 or 2 o'clock. If I get to midday and I'm ravenous, I'll just eat. Intermittent fasting is not magic. It's not like the heebie-jeebie voodoo stuff which people talk about. You've heard me talk about being in a calorie deficit. All intermittent fasting does, when your calories are a little bit on the low side, they make things a little bit easier for you by bunching your calories towards the end of the day. Now, the majority of people, hands up, me, I get picky at night. I get hungry at night. If I've eaten all my calories, if my calories are particularly low and all my calories are gone by 5 o'clock, then it's going to be a miserable evening. If I can get up in the morning, I can have a couple of black coffees, quite strong, busy myself for the morning, get to about midday, maybe push it till 1 o'clock. I've then got all my calories to eat over the rest of the day. So your chances of success when it comes to weight loss, they're going to improve ever so slightly. But like I said, it's not magical. The 16-hour fast, if you do a 15-hour fast, it's going to make no difference. If you do a 14-hour fast, it's going to make no difference. If you do, you can push it and do the biggest fast I've ever done was 24 hours. And that was, it got to 16 hours. I was due to eat. I just started with a client. The hunger came. By the time the client had finished, the hunger had passed. So I kind of thought, let's see how far I can push it. And I managed to do, I think I did 27 hours. I did a little bit more. But the hunger kind of goes like this. So it's quite like going back to what Rich said at the very start. That's what hunger is. So now I've experienced actual hunger. I don't really kind of struggle so much no more. So when it comes to intermittent fasting, you do what you can do. If you can't do it, don't do it. Okay.
We're going to crack through some questions here, but we need short answers because we need to wrap this up. Somebody's asking, how do we know how many calories we need? How would you calculate that?
I will. The way we're going to kind of calculate your calories initially. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I think my screen just went off. Have I come back?
I don't know. I'm not looking at that screen. Let's have a look. Yeah, I can see you.
Hi. Hello. Yeah, so we use a formula based on your body weight, your height, your activity levels. That's how we work out your daily calorie needs.
Somebody's asked, what is the cost? The cost for the 6 weeks is 150 Great British pounds. What is the cost in USD? Just you'll need to Google that because I'm not really sure at the moment. I'm not sure. It's up and down, yeah. So go and Google it. PayPal does the conversion for you. So whichever country you're in, you're going to need to make sure you Google the currency conversion first. But we're only taking payment for this in Great British pounds. Will the diet work for vegans who are gluten-free?
Yes.
So we had this. We did have a vegan in the last group, didn't we? And we just gave options for, or rather, Danny gave options for things that you can eat that would allow you to fulfill the requirements of the eating protocol.
Because your calories will be worked out for you.
Robert has asked, would running low calorie all day cause an impulsive rush to eat at night?
Which is why, just let me go back onto the screen because I'm convinced you can't hear me. So kind of, however, when it comes to kind of weight loss, when it comes to changing your body composition, there are going to be times where you do feel a smidge uncomfortable, which is where intermittent fasting comes into play. You're saving your calories for later on in the day. So if you do feel the urge to binge, you've got a bigger amount of calories to kind of eat. But the kind of hope is that between me and Rich, we'll be able to kind of help you with your kind of impulses to binge.
I actually find running low calorie during the day on an intermittent fast doesn't make me have an impulsive rush to eat at night. I feel quite sober about eating at night. I'm like, okay, I've got 1,200 calories that I need to get through now. Be in the gym. This is what I'm doing. Boom, just do it like that. Fasting does seem to be a bit of a skill, and it's something that you get used to. So maybe at first you might be like, oh my God, I haven't eaten all day. Oh Jesus, let me eat something now. Nom, 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 nom. But you would know what that meal is going to be. And that's a very important part of this eating protocol. You're supposed to meal plan. So you'll know, okay, I have 1,000 calorie meal coming later. And psychologically, that makes it easier to just wait and just be like, okay, only got 3-4 hours to go, and then I'm going to eat. It just basically adds a lot more structure to eating, doesn't it? The intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has to do it. Like, it's not part of this.
It's one of the options. It's one of the tools in your toolkit that we will kind of help advise you with. That if you can do it, I know people that as soon as they get up in the morning, they are absolutely ravenous and they need to eat. That's absolutely fine. Intermittent fasting possibly isn't for you. So what we would do in that kind of situation I would suggest a couple of strong coffees to kind of pull the hunger off, and then saving your main meals till later on in the day, maybe having a couple of little planned snacks and saving your bigger meals for later on in the day. That's a technique I use with lots of people.
Two people have asked what time our classes run. I don't think we've really described what the format is very well. We're actually going to be running, it's a Facebook group. You will get, so it's whenever you want to log in, whenever's convenient for you, you will get access to, you don't need to be live and there when I'm offering you psychology stuff. You get access to the audio files that you can play whenever you want. We do both do live videos, but if you miss them because you're in a different time zone, they just sit there and you can access it whenever you want. So it's all at your convenience, and it's all done through the Facebook group. So you don't need to be online at a certain time. It's not classes. We're not delivering classes here. It's a support group via Facebook with all the resources there within the support group. The reason for doing that is just super convenient. It means anybody can just pull out their phone. They can see what we're supposed to be doing today. What was the thing that we were focused on today? What audios do I need to download? Go to the Facebook group. It'll take you to a place where you download it. Whatever it is that Danny wants you to do, you go to the Facebook group and you go through there. There was another question that I saw. Michelle Renee said, I know nutrition. What about the psychological part? What does that question mean, Michelle? If you give me a more focused, tighter question, I'll try and answer that. Okay. Jedi mind tricks to help. Yeah, Jedi mind tricks. That's what I'm going to do with you is like, don't eat the cookie. Put the cookie down. It's not that far away from it, to be honest with you, because you're going to have the audio hypnosis running. That means you're going to have me in your ear for a certain amount of time every day, particularly asking you to look at and focus on not just food, not just eating, not just exercise, but self-assertiveness, internal boundaries, your capacity to be self-disciplined, your capacity to go and say no to yourself, but smile and feel good and feel calm. We had people in the group who after 4 or 5 weeks, they were saying that their capacity to have confrontation without getting upset, their capacity to assert themselves, to ask for what they want, massively increased through being in this group. But it wasn't about that. The group really wasn't about that. That was just like a side benefit that came from having the discipline and the bravery to actually control their eating, their self-esteem going up because they managed to control an addictive behavior that they'd suffered with for life, and they'd seen positive results from it, and then just standing up for themselves. And there was a little bit of that. Have you seen any of the questions there that look like they need answering?
Just kind of flicking through. Oh, I've lost it. I live in Alaska. All I have access to is fish. Fish is on the plan. A friend of mine keeps telling me 3 or 4 cups of coffee is bad on our digestion. Is this true? No, not that I've ever read. The black coffee or caffeine can have a laxative effect on some people. Not on everybody, not on many people. I know a few people that have a cup of coffee in the morning to help move things along.
We'll do one more question and then we'll leave it. Oh, somebody asked, what about knowing what to do but not doing it? That's classic. And I think that's probably going to be the problem for most people. The idea that you need to eat better food and move around a bit. You're all intelligent people. You all already know that. So why are you not doing it? Well, the reason why you're not doing it is the same reason why you procrastinate. It's the same reason why if I give you a list of things to do during the day, you'll probably have 3 nervous breakdowns getting them done. CPTSR has a lot to answer for. Childhood trauma affects our ability to do the things that we know are best for us. You know, the way in which you were raised, the way in which your parents raised you, if it wasn't very positive and it wasn't very loving, you're going to struggle to do things for yourself that are just for you. If you were doing it because some tyrant or somebody with a personality disorder was demanding it, or you'd know what to do then, but you just doing it for you, this is fucking alien territory for most people. We get you through that during the course. The audio tutorials and the videos you'll get from me specifically address that issue and recondition that issue so that you can start to learn to do things just for yourself. So the reason why you know what to, but you don't do it is because it's you know, I hate to be so simple, but it's kind of a lack of self-love. It's a lack of self-nurturing and the capacity to take care of yourself. So that's dealt with in the course as well. Is there anything you wanted to add, Danny?
I've literally just seen one, but it refreshed. It's gone. It's gone.
Is there
a difference?
It's gone.
Is there a difference between males and females in terms of weight loss? Fundamentally, no, when it comes to calories. However, hormonally, with the female menstrual cycle, yes. Yes. At various points in the month, your weight will be all over the place, which obviously is completely normal for a female. So while no, there isn't when it comes to calories, yes, hormonally, but there's not a lot we can do about it, I'm afraid.
There was some research that I saw that suggested that like if you go, it's not great for women to go really low carb, and it's not great for men to go really low fat. And it's something to do with the way in which carbohydrates for women work to, you know, you've got to keep your hormones on point. Men and women need to keep their hormones in balance if you want to feel good. We don't want you walking around feeling cranky and stressed out and grumpy during this process. That's not fun. Which is why, you know, Dan has said, like, if there's food that you really crave, you can have some of that food. It's just it's a question then of like portion control and balancing it with other food that is, you know, a little bit more nutritious and for adults.
Yeah.
You can't be eating cookie dough ice cream all day. Even if it's in a calorie deficit, it'll be bad for you.
Unless it's Halo Top.
All right, folks. Well, if you fancy it, the link for joining is in the more information bar below. And I think I also put it in the comments as well. The doors are only open until tomorrow evening. We're going to keep this a tighter, smaller group than the last one. It's easier to control. It means that we can give more of our attention to individuals. So if you do want to join up with that, then make sure you do it before tomorrow afternoon when I'll be closing the doors on that one. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Dan?
No, not at all. I just want to say thank you all for listening. And I hope to see most of you in the group.
Awesome. Thanks for your time and your attention, ladies and gents, and look forward to speaking to you soon. Cheers.